Welcome to another episode with us, and we are
Uh,
living with the spectrum, right?
Denisha and Tim with Living
Yes,
with the
I'm
Spectrum.
Tim.
I'm Denisha. This is Living with the Spectrum.
Yes, it is going down.
Going down.
It's going down. I know that you guys have been wanting more material, and
Have you missed us? We've been gone.
they saw us last week.
Oh yeah, my bad. Never mind.
Yeah, we were
I forgot.
vacationing last week, you know, on a beautiful island of Jamaica.
Really?
Well, she's really private. So.
Yeah, like he just be ready to tell all the business. But nonetheless, he's right. We did. We got the opportunity to go out to my half homeland. But coming from 100% Jamaicans, they say that I am still Jamaican because my father is Jamaican. So coming from my homeland, no, we had an amazing time. We got the opportunity to spend time with my sister. Yes, my real blood sister. I have one. And her fiance, and we had a really, really, really good time. It was all about the relaxation and just
Yes.
enjoying the company of them and each other. So we had a good time, and we still did living with the spectrum for y'all.
I feel more rested. I feel
Tim put me out on fresh drink because I was finna try to eat my macadamia nuts on the sly.
well.
But
This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go ahead and do a quick test, sound test, real
oh
quickly.
yeah, let me.
Make sure that everything is flowing,
Sorry, I'm being a little extra.
because we've been having a lot of technology issues. We've
We
been
have
trying to figure
indeed,
this out and that out.
indeed.
We tried with our streaming service. We tried with I don't know, just figuring out whether it was the computer or whether it was the equipment.
Indeed.
So now we're just gonna do a
So let's check.
quick check. How's it looking?
Looks good. The sound is great. Ain't no clicking, clacking, no spot, jump, skipping.
Okay.
So that's what's going on. It's so funny because, excuse me.
Yeah.
Um, I just recently I was having a conversation with a coworker or whatever, and I told her about me and you doing the podcast. And the first one she got to the pilot episode, which that's been a minute because this is episode 13, if I'm not mistaken.
Episode 13. Wow.
Um, and I was on my phone like in the beginning, just looking, but I wasn't really looking. What I was doing was, and she was like, "Girl, what are you doing? What are you doing on your phone?" And I was like, "Girl, it was our first episode. I think we have been dealing with issues with the sound. I think it blacked out a few times." Um, and so I was telling her I was just trying to make sure that we were at least on Facebook streaming and that the sound was okay. I try not to do it as much because I know it's
Is it freezing right now?
okay. No, it took a pause or whatever.
Okay.
I try not to do it as much, but it still requires my attention. Only because we be having issues.
Yeah.
And if you don't, oh, go ahead.
No. It's just important. A lot of the material that we share because a lot of you are going through some of the things that we're similarly going through,
Exactly.
and you've been looking for an outlet, something similar to what we're doing, and it's very important to get the information because there's some things we can learn from you, some things that you can learn from us, and please feel free to to chat. Get in on the chat and let us know some things that you're going through or some things that you would love for us to discuss
Absolutely.
so that we can go ahead and bring it out and see how we can deal with these issues, right?
Absolutely. It's important. We love the feedback, the talking back, and we want you guys to let us know about certain things you want us to talk about, even if you don't have children that have autism and you're kind of watching from the sidelines and you may have questions um, that you may not feel comfortable enough to ask someone that has children on the spectrum. Let us know. We'll tackle that topic as best as possible.
Yeah, and if we don't know, we'll research or we have
We'll
guests.
figure it
We
out.
have some guests that come on that are licensed psychotherapists and therapists that can answer those questions.
Absolutely.
You know, so yeah. So today's topic, we want to talk about feeling left out. There's a lot of
And when we say feeling left out, we mean, i.e., the father.
no, I don't want to just take it from the father's point of
Okay.
view. I want to take
Now
it
you can
from
change it.
yeah, my point of view and the father's point of view, but how how could I be missing out on my communication with you as well? Because we got to really look at it. There's two people that are involved, and sometimes we cross wires in our communication,
Mhm.
and you could be having a bad day, and you just you want to relay a message, and I'm not getting the message. Women tend to think that we can read their minds, and we can't.
And as you, no, I'm just kidding.
And for men, it just seems like for us when we're going when we're in this particular life, this lifestyle, and and so on and so forth, with having children on the spectrum, a lot of times we get pushed to the side because of the needs of the child. And I think that there has to be some sort of balance, because I kind of feel like sometimes there's some affection that she shows the children, and I kind of feel like I'm being left out, you
Mhm.
know. So yeah, so those are some of the things we would like to discuss and tackle today. So where would you like for me to start? You want me to start about how sometimes
Well,
I feel?
let's first of all, so where do we get this topic from?
Okay, so I was talking to a friend of mine, a close friend I've known for years. His name is Brian, and his wife is a therapist, and they deal with all type of people, and she has
Be careful
no, I'm
because
just saying she has
clients.
a client, that's going through something, and they didn't mention anything about the client or anything, but he just said that they had special needs children, and that of um, the father of the child or children, or so on and so forth, of the family, um, there's never a mention of him, because it's kind of like they're left out. So I kind of identify with that, and I kind of feel like a lot of marriages in the autistic community tend to suffer because the man is trying to be heard, or the man is trying to see where his place is, fitting in with his family,
Mhm.
because the mother, she's usually at all the functions. Sometimes the father is there, um, but at the same time, you know the father kind of likes things to be like it used to be. And I understand when you have children, you have to you know um, I guess you have to put a little time here and there, try to balance it out, but sometimes it kind of feels like um, the child or children get more of the attention, and then the husband, you're so tired that you can't really give the husband the attention that they need.
Okay.
That's kind of how I feel sometimes, and I'm pretty sure that there's some fellas, you can go into the chat right now, and just say that you feel the same way. So I kind of feel that way. I kind of feel like there's no, I mean, I kind of feel like there's a lack of balance when it comes down to um, our relationship after the children basically get their needs fulfilled. Because if we're worried about this and worried about that, and you're spending all your time here and spending all your time there, and it's for a good cause because we want the children to be stable, but at the end of the day, it's like, man, you probably don't even feel like talking, or we can't go out because we're so exhausted. And there's just a number of things that come along with having children on the spectrum that the husband has to deal with, and a lot of times our story is not told.
Mhm. So I'm giving him that opportunity to do just that. I feel like what happens is, um, and I'm sorry, y'all, I'm trying to share this as well. Um, I think what happens is um we as mothers, we're not trying to neglect. So as you know, right now I'm gonna have to take a 5 minute, just
Well, we'll get
uh,
back to you. Go ahead and
yeah, give me 2 seconds,
I'll change the
because
camera
sis decided that she didn't want to have pants on. Okay,
back.
so let's make sure that she's not being exposed.
What I'll do
Point.
is
Can you change the view?
this is what I'll do.
Change the view from her side.
I'll see if I can do that. There's an option here where I can do that.
No, just make it go back to us, the front face, and not the side.
No, we'll go back. I'll just put this up here, and you go ahead and handle that, and I'll put it back.
Go ahead, talk.
Go ahead. Okay, so yeah, um, we us as fathers, we kind of feel like in so many different ways that we are neglected. And when you first get married, the honeymoon stage, and then there's the reality of everything, life as it really is. And we tend to learn our, a lot of people use the word partner, and they're using that big term now, partner, and so on and so forth. But I kind of see it as a relationship. I see it as her being my wife. I'm playing the role as a husband, and we do partner in this. But I kind of feel like that when you have a whole different dynamic, you can't really focus on your relationship, and it's really good for those that have a relationship, that are married, or you're with your significant other, because not everyone is married that has children. And we got to look at it this way. Relationship is key. The relationship is the very thing that brought you um, into this particular situation, and you have to work on that. You have to. You basically have to cultivate your land. And what I mean by that is, I mean that you still have to have times where you date. You still have to have time where you you and your husband or wife or significant other have to put the time in and put the work in to have that relationship flourish like it should. The relationship is not going to grow on its own, and it's not just about you being together. It's about you working out uh, a lot of different problems and coming to terms with solutions, but doing it together. And you have to make your relationship what you want it to be. So I kind of feel like, I'm saying that, the mother's so exhausted that sometimes she checks out, or I'm so exhausted, I tend to check out, and some of the things that need to be said or need to be added, or some of the things that we need to do in order to um, water our relationship, we tend not to do it.
You all in the camera.
Is your mic on?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So as I was saying, we tend not to do. If I love my wife, I have to put the time in to show her that I love her. And she's critiquing me right
No,
now.
because you're like sitting forward and
But
it's kind of
what if I
distracting.
want to sit forward?
Well, it's just kind of go ahead. It's kind of
Okay.
distracting. But
Yeah. Yeah. So in general, that's I know that people feel like that. And with autistic marriages, a lot of marriages don't make it. And that's the very reason, because that's one of the reasons, because there's you're not able to put the time in to cultivate your relationship. For me and my wife, we can't really go to a place in public with our children. Like for instance, for dinner, we have to have someone that can watch our children for us. Um,
no, ma'am.
because our children, when they're in public, they do stimming, they make noises and so on and so forth, and it makes people uncomfortable. And
Well, I really don't care about people being uncomfortable.
we tend to have to like either defend our children or have to leave. So that makes life complicated. when it comes down to us being in a setting, a normal setting, and being out and amongst people, because people don't understand.
Mhm.
And that's one dynamic that me and Denisha, we really enjoyed when it was just us. And it wasn't us long, after we got married, we got pregnant with a month later.
About that.
Yeah. So it's, I guess it's that time. I mean, it's the timing, the whole timing with everything. So what I would like to say, what we've been doing is we've been trying to find time for one another, and that's how things have been working for us. You know, what do you have to say about that?
You would ask me that as soon as I pop a macadamia nut in. Um, so I don't know if I like this angle that much.
You
I
are
don't know.
okay.
Anyway, I think you're right. I think that, and if I'm not mistaken, I'm sorry, y'all. He caught me when I threw a macadamia nut in, kind of hungry. See, we push through in spite of the hunger and the things that we want, just so we can be putting out the content. Anyway, no, I'm just kidding. I think that as wives and as mothers that have at mothers, period, um, you do find yourself kind of focusing more on your children, because kids, they require a lot. Far as I can tell, kids do require more attention than the husband. Not to say that the husband doesn't require attention, but I feel like because we have children on the spectrum, our our duty for them is increased because there are a lot of things that they may not be able to do. And we've said time and time again, we have 3 children on the autistic spectrum, one high functioning, middle, low, whatever, all these different levels. I'm not a fan of them because autism comes in many different forms. And so when people try to label them, it's kind of, um, you can get stuck in trying to label in all of these different types of levels because we were just watching. And yes, y'all know me. If y'all been watching, I kind of I veers off a little bit, but then I comes back and I bring it back in. Okay. So follow me. But Tim put on a TED talk yesterday. And this lady, I'm sure it was a doctor or something. Um, I'm sorry, I'm getting a text and I need to turn it down. Um, sorry. So what it said was the reason why autism is a spectrum is because it's um and it's doing this little number right here. Should we keep going?
Yeah, keep going.
Okay. Um, it's a spectrum because there are different attributes or different spectrums to make a spectrum, right? Am I saying this right?
Yeah, she was saying it was
And
not just one particular area. It was a number of different challenges.
and so what autism may look like in one child, autism could look completely different in another child, and we know firsthand on that because that's what we deal with on a day-to-day basis. Anyways, I said that to say, excuse me, that there are a number of times that I feel like my children need my attention more than my husband because they're requiring a lot more. And I feel like, okay, well, Tim is an adult, and I'm being very transparent and candid right now. He don't really need me right now because whatever he needs, he can handle on his own. Opposed to whatever child that may be requesting or requiring my attention at that moment, they may need me right then. And um, so I'm not so much as putting all my eggs in the Tim basket. That's right. Cause I'm tired and I'm tired. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of times we don't really our communication is we're working on it. I know that there are times that um he says things and I'm like, I don't understand what you're saying. But I think it's just because I don't know. I don't know. Like this for me, the reason why we picked this topic, and I want to go in a little bit more
Go ahead.
because I feel like we kind of right here with it, and I want to get in now. So yes, Tim was having a conversation with a friend of his. I don't want to, say whoever it is or whatever. I know he already did, but nonetheless, and the anyway, there is a couple a client or whatever, and they have an autistic child, and when the friend was talking, because what we were doing is we're trying to plug the podcast a little bit more, trying to figure out, how to do it. And what happened was he was taking me to work. And as he was talking, my mind was just kind of rolling as it does, which is one of the main reasons why Tim sometimes feels neglected because my mind is constantly rolling. Like Vacation Denisha is completely different from in the States, mommy, responsibilities, all of that kind of stuff, Denisha. So the moment we got off the plane, my phone started pinging. All of this needed to be done. This was not done. And all of this stuff, which put me right back in a bad headspace. Not to mention, our flight was delayed like 5 hours. But anyway, and I had to go to work the next day. And it was my long day. But so excuse me, he was having this conversation. I was in the car or whatever, and then it it was just like the Lord dropped it into my spirit to ask him what his wife did. I knew what she did, but I wasn't 100% sure because I know they have a couple of different areas of
therapy.
hmm?
Therapists.
No, that's not what I was gonna say. Thank
Okay,
you.
go ahead.
As he cut me off. Are y'all counting that? Okay. Um, I know that they have a couple of different streams of income. So I wasn't really sure because I think at one point she wasn't doing it or something like that. I don't know. But nonetheless, it dropped into my spirit, ask him what his wife does for a living. And I gasped, and I think I kind of threw Tim off. I kind of scared him a little bit because I was like, but I said, and he was like, what? And he slowed down. I said, oh no, I'm sorry. What does your wife do for a living? And he was talking to the friend, and he told me, and I asked if she had any type of experience with autism. And he was like, yeah, absolutely. And then he went on to tell us, some not anything in depth or anything, but just the
Experiences.
experience that she does have as far as like um, school system, clients that she has, now. And so I was like, oh, okay, great. And not just because you're a therapist, you have experience with autism. That's why I asked that specific question because some people they don't deal with autism. They have, it's a wide spectrum of therapists. Okay. So anyway, I said to Tim, why? First of all, have you ever told him about our podcast? And I don't know if he said
Yeah,
he said he had or whatever. And then I was like, why haven't you ever invited her on? And I don't think it was out of it was just an oversight. It wasn't out of anything but just that. So I was like, if you could, and I kind of explained it to him a little bit more because I want people to understand like what we do. We're not doing it just for doing it purposes. We're doing it in all purposes of people gaining knowledge, we gaining knowledge, having people come on and talk and give tips and tools that other parents that may be having or that we may be needing to help us to move forward. You know what I mean?
Bridge the gap.
Bridge the gap.
Yeah.
Exactly. So he was telling us that there was a family that had an autistic child, and the child, was dealing with some stuff. And I was so engaged because I felt like what he was saying was kind of in the lines of what me and Tim had been dealing with our 10-year-old. And y'all already know we've been talking about the self-injurious behavior and the aggression that we've been getting.
Hmm.
And so while he was talking, he was telling us not any in-depth details, but just how his wife had been able to kind of
Help the young lady out.
yes, and I want you to be very careful because HIPAA is very real.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Okay. But yeah, just kind of steer her down the right avenues and what she needed to do. And then a couple of minutes later, he said he mentioned a husband, and I was like, "Oh, there's a husband?" Because all this time I'm thinking it was just a single mother with
Mhm.
a child or two or whatever. And so that's what sparked this conversation because a lot of times when we are talking or people or parents or moms are talking, they're coming from the standpoint of the mother and what we have to deal with and what we're going through and what we're thinking mentally, and the depression or the feeling left out and stuff like that. And even when you have a spouse, you don't intentionally leave them out, but because this is such a huge um what is it? I don't It's not a burden.
Can I help you out?
Yeah, but I
Okay.
mean you can now, but what?
I mean, you're saying it's like a huge. I mean, kind of like a burden. It
No,
is
it's
kind of
not
like
a burden because I don't ever want it to seem
a
like
huge task, right?
task.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
Because my children are not burdens. The
No.
task
No.
is great.
Yes, it is a
But we
great
love our
task.
children very much. So a lot of times they do, in a sense, I have to sometimes, instead of saying me, and I work on that with my therapist all the time. I used to always say me. I got it. I got it. And then I was like, I don't say Tim enough. And it's not because I don't.
I'm here.
He's there in spirit. No, I'm just
No,
kidding.
physically, up here.
He's there, but a lot of times I feel like the mother, they take on. Sorry, I thought I heard a cry. Okay. See, I tune in and I'll tune out just like that when it comes down to the kids. Um, so what was I saying? See, I lost my train of thought. Oh, so it's like I feel like the mother, we have so much more of a greater task because the kids come to the mom automatically. And you have to be honest with that. Is that true?
They do.
Okay.
Whenever you're here. I mean, but
I
when you're
mean,
not here,
when I'm not here, they ain't got no choice but to come to
they
you.
come to me though.
Because if they could jump in an Uber and come to get me, they would. Am I right? Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
And so it's not that I'm trying to overlook him and push him back and say he doesn't do that because Tim is a good father or whatever. He's a great father. He does what he needs to do upon Tim. No, I'm just joking. Tim is good.
I'm like Superman here. Right?
Okay, so
That's what you call me. You call me a Superman, right?
yes.
Okay. Okay. Let's
Anyway,
keep it real.
we're
Let's keep
gonna
it
move
real. Let's keep it
forward.
real.
But I think that the fathers do get pushed to the back. Just because a lot of times they're silent. And that's what the friend said. He said something that was so key and profound. He was like, wow, a lot of times, I don't know what he said, but it was like, to me, it clicked on a light bulb. And I was like,
He says he always hears about
the mom.
a mom when it comes down to autism or so on and
The
so
mom,
forth.
right.
Yeah,
He
but
hears
he
about
never
a mom,
hears about the
but
father.
he never hears about the father, even though the father was there. Because when he mentioned the father, I was taken aback, and I was like, "Oh, there's a father in." And I'm sure people probably feel the same way about me when they talk to me and Tim's not around, and then I have to say, "Oh, me and my husband or whatever," "Oh, me and my husband or whatever," and I have to make a conscious effort or whatever to mention that there is a father. And
She has to pull me out of the hat, y'all.
I mean, the facts are the facts. I'm being real. But it has nothing to do with him. It just has something to do with, I think a lot of times people automatically just flock to the mom. And they're more concerned with the mom because the father, they don't say nothing. And so one of the things that Tim was saying, which is true, is a lot of times marriages that have children with autism or special needs in general, they do not last. And a lot of times they divorce, and then or
It's
the
you
father is the one who
who
leaves.
leaves. Yeah.
And if you guys already, the saying, daddy's mother's baby, father's maybe. And it has nothing to do with um the child not maybe being the father maybe being the child.
Caretaker. Or,
No, no, no. Hold on, let me say this right. That saying does not necessarily mean that that child is not from the father. It just means that a lot of times the father is able to just up and leave on the drop of a hat before a mother can do that. Because again, it rolls back around, and because our the charge that we have as mothers are so great. You know what I mean? And so that's why I kind of wanted to talk about and see what it was like on a father's perspective, because they don't talk a lot. And when he said that he doesn't hear much about the fathers, and um, they suffer in silence, and that ought not to be. You know what I mean? And so that's why I'm trying to understand. Now, Tim says I overlook him on certain things. Now, I feel like there are certain things I just don't have to, I shouldn't have to do because he grown. You feel me? But he doesn't feel that way. So there's got to be a compromise somewhere, because
but it has nothing to do with the individual being grown.
Okay.
Sometimes it's just you need a hug, or you need some, like what PDA. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it's
You have
just
the
it's
microphone right in my face.
sorry.
See, that's why I
That's
said
that's
sit
that's
back,
why
because
I need more talking time. Listen. Anyways, yeah. I mean, I kind of feel like that um the love, the passion that we had before is not there. It's not existing because she's so tired and she's so out of it.
I mean, it
Or
ain't
and
non-existent, but
vice versa. It
I'm
I
tired.
could be tired as well. But it's kind of like there's like it tends to be like a little void, like a void in communication. So that's something that we're working on. I'm trying to get us
Oh,
both into
he's trying to get.
couples counseling.
Oh,
You know,
yes, that is
yeah,
definitely something that we are looking into.
yeah,
And I want people to stop being afraid to go to counseling.
yeah.
Like, we as a culture, we got to really look into it, because it will really help guide you where you need to go. Like, above all, yes, Christ is the head of our lives or whatever, but a lot of times you need somebody to talk to.
Yeah, because
Like,
you can't neglect what it is that you need.
and
Honestly.
yes, your relationship will find. And again, talking to another a coworker today, and she asked me, she said, and again, it has everything to do with what we're talking about today. It's all about Tim. And so, I mean, it ain't all about Tim, but you know what I'm talking about. We're coming from how it is a father feels with having autistic children, and how they feel kind of neglected. Now, I don't want to say neglected, because I don't feel like I neglect Tim. And anybody that know me and know have been around us, they know that
Put it
I
in the
may not
chats.
be. Yeah, put it in the chat.
Put it in the chat.
I may not be what um he wants per se, but I do my job. I'm good. I'm a good wife.
So
Okay.
it's
Anyway,
but it
so
has nothing to do with I mean, I guess how good you are at just certain things of being my mate. It has everything to do with, I guess, us spending that time, or the time that's always diverted to the children,
but
or
our
given
kids
to
are
the
still very
children.
young.
They're still young, but
I mean, not very young. I mean, they're still
I'm gonna
young.
need a little pinch of that time. I'm gonna need a
You
little.
get it. You get what I
It's
can
on
give.
tape.
No, but
It's
that's
on
what I'm
tape.
saying. He gets what I can give. I can't give him anything I don't have.
So I guess that's why there has to be a lot of planning, and there has to be a lot of different things that we can set aside for one another.
Yeah, but you also have to have that support system. Like, again, we can't, as a couple, we can't say we want something from somebody if they don't have it. Like, I can't request water from you if we not buy no faucet and you don't got no cup. So if I'm depleted and I'm literally tapped out, I can only give you what I have. And there are a lot of times I'm still, even when I'm on fumes And Tim can tell you, I'm still trying to do the best that I can do. So the question a friend of mine or a coworker of mine had, and we are, she mad cool or whatever. She asked me today, how do I feel like? Do I feel like our relationship? No, let me put it right. She said, with having children on the spectrum,
Mm.
do you feel like it has brought you and your husband closer together, or does it bring you apart? And I said, well, it definitely ain't brought us closer together, but it's a two-folded thing
Yeah,
because it goes back and forth to me.
it's a two-stranded thing.
It's a two-stranded thing. So there are times
Where we are
where
closer.
it does bring us closer together because these are our children.
Yeah.
And so can't nobody understand them like we can understand them. And there's no one that's going to be able to take care of them like we can take care of them. But at the same time, it can also drive a wedge between the two of us, hence him feeling that neglect or whatever he feels like I don't give him. Um, so it's two-stranded question. And I was like, that's a big question to unfold because how do you feel? Do you feel like what it does? What do you feel like it does for us?
I feel like that we are in so many ways closer because of the experience of
Okay.
you become closer to someone based on what you guys go through.
Mhm.
So it's not just the stuff that's just up in the air and just the things that are easy to go through, because if you don't have any challenges, you'll never know how strong your bond is. So
Absolutely.
I believe that in so many ways we know each other in a whole different way, whole different dynamic.
Yeah,
So
I agree. I will say that somebody has water on.
okay, I'll take a break. It sounds like
It's
Grace.
your turn. So, and that's another thing that we deal with. So, our 5-year-old is currently water crazy, and I think that's just a child thing. Period. That ain't got nothing to do with autism or whatever. But I think she done turned on the tub. Like she's so into water. But anyways, um, I think that oh shoot, he said something that was very key. But I just feel like a lot of times, oh, I know what I was gonna say. I'm sorry. The closeness really came when we ended up having to leave Florida. We were very close with my parents or whatever. They were like in our back pocket, like, hey, we need you to come in and welcome to Living with the Spectrum. We are a podcast that talk about our journey, that have 3 children on the autistic spectrum. And so thank you for watching. If you're just tuning in, hi. Um, so we ended up leaving Florida and Tim got a job and took us to Boston or whatever. And for the longest time before we moved, my father, if you know me, you know my parents are like, they have, well, I was their baby or whatever. So it was all about, no, Denisha, you should stay here with the kids and blah, 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 whatever. And I was so adamant. I was like, no, he's going to Boston. I'm going to Boston. And my kids are going to Boston. There were a couple of different ways that they were trying to make it work. Okay, well, you two go and leave the kids. I was like, no, we're all going. So they finally got into it in their minds that, okay, it was her, wasn't it? No, there was water running somewhere. No, I heard it. I hear water. Nonetheless, it is what it is. Um, if she's safe, that's all that matters. So once they understand and they know me, people that know me, I'm very when I get my mind set on something, ain't much you can do to change it. So once we moved to Boston, that's where the closeness, it literally pushed us to just lean on one another. And then once we left Boston, we moved to Georgia. And I love Georgia or whatever. And that's still because even though his family lives here, they live an hour and 15 minutes away from us, hour and 10 minutes.
Hour and 15.
It's a drive.
Yeah.
And so it's not like we could just jump in our car and go drop our kids off at his family's house. Because in order for us to do that, there has to be planning or whatever.
And there's traffic. So
it's literally just me and Tim or whatever. And so that's where it pushes us closer together because we don't have no choice but to
work
lean
it out.
on one
Yeah.
another. And a lot of times, if I'm having a bad day, because let's be very clear and honest, Denisha has those bad days and those dark days where I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to I don't want to deal with the stresses of life because of whatever. And they could start at the crack of dawn because Yvette will wake up sometimes and have a tantrum the moment she gets up. She's already hitting herself. That puts me in a bad headspace because nobody, no parent wants to see their child hurting themselves. You know what I'm saying? Well, he understands, but so I'm talking to y'all out there. Y'all know what it's, if you in this, then you understand it. So it could put you in a bad place. So in those moments when I'm having a bad day or I wake up asking God, like, why? And I know I've heard the saying, God give uh
Grace or what?
no, God give these things to the people that can deal with it the most, or whatever the saying is I hear all the time.
And you deal with it.
It's all good and dandy, but when you in the thick of it, it's like, yeah, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can come to Tim and he understands exactly what I'm saying.
Because
And
the majority of the time I feel the same way.
absolutely.
You know, it's just that it's not heard, you know?
And that's why we're doing this, because why do you think the father is pushed to the back or not even talked about?
Because the perception of the father is, you know, supposed to be strong. The father's supposed to do certain things, and you know, the father usually doesn't feel. I mean, I guess share a lot of his emotions. But you know, when you're dealing with what you're dealing with, you need to talk to someone. That's why it's important to talk to someone that's a therapist or someone that's a counselor, or you know, someone that understands. Because
Grace is a mess.
if you're unable to have an outlet, uh, a lot of these feelings will stay inside, and would actually damage you internally. So you know, we're emotional people. People have emotions. People have feelings, and a lot of times you can't express your feelings based on, you know, how to. I mean, based on how you were brought up, or based on how you have the ability to explain it. So sometimes, a lot of times, we'll hold it in, and then you know, certain things happen, even with our bodies, or certain things happen, even with frustration, and you can't even answer someone without having an attitude because you're so.
Let me just say this real quick. He quick to be like, I don't be saying nothing out the way, and I'm like, bruh, the tone. It's all about the tone. And he's like, oh, I'm like, no.
But see, that's where a lot of these frustrations come from. It comes from, you know, not being heard, or not or you know, being left out, or you know, just not being able to get the outlet that you need. So you know, you feel a certain way, and sometimes you don't understand it, but you're like, you know, well, you know, she didn't really spend time with me, or so on and so forth, and you know, you got the nerve to try to talk to me today. It's
So
you know, it could, you know, it comes from different places. It's like, man, you know, now you want to, you know, it's, yeah.
no. So you got it. So that's why, okay, marriage is, it's hard work, okay, but it can be very much worth it.
It can be
But
rewarding.
you also, it is rewarding when you have a wife like me. No, I'm just kidding. I had to
Yeah, I
say that.
mean,
But what I'm saying is, you have to understand, like, so I'm laughing because he's like, oh, now you want to. But if you're constantly going, like I said, if my mind is flowing and flowing and flowing, and let me use this other arm because I've been dealing with some shoulder pains or whatever.
yeah.
I done had a birthday a few weeks ago, and I feel like I don't woke up and something else hurt, and then so that is a very much a true saying.
And that's crazy. And see, like every time I go to Jamaica, my arm hurts for some reason. I don't know.
Blame that on Jamaica.
I don't know.
Because
I don't know. I mean, the food is good. I'm just saying,
back.
you know.
Anyway, it's like, not that we try to neglect, but again, there are more pressing matters, i.e., our kids, that you don't necessarily feel like I need to check in. And so maybe on my part, I need to be a little bit more
Understand?
with forthcoming or whatever, making sure that I'm, checking in with you. But I think that goes both ways. Like, I feel like if you see me constantly doing something, constantly going back and forth, and you just sprawled out on the couch because not at one child. No,
Let's
no, 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 no. We going
no,
there.
let me hop
Now,
in here
let me
now
just say this.
because you got
Because
to think
then you
about
should
this.
jump up and say, you know what, Denisha's been going and she does this and she does that. Let me jump in real quick and say, hey,
But
I'm here.
but sometimes you're in that type of headspace because I'm during the day, I may get a call to pick up, Eve or so on and so forth.
Mhm.
I'm around the kids a lot, and then whenever I do schedule in work or so on and so forth, um, I work hard, and sometimes being around the children, and sometimes they're having a lot of their um, stemming and other issues and tantrums and so on and so forth. Sometimes you just need peace of mind. Sometimes it's like, man, I just got to check out, or I'm about to go crazy.
Right, and I feel
So
everything you're
at
saying.
those times that you catch me like that, it's I've spent time with the children, and it's kind of like, just let me just lay here for a second, or just let me just get peace of mind, because I feel like I'm about to run out of the wall, and you have a 10 print in the wall.
So I'm gonna give
So
that to you today. But it's not just those days when you have
but
worked or
that's what you think. I'm working on something. I'm
okay.
always doing something.
Y'all know us. But it's okay. It's not a knock to you as being a father. I just think that that's what happens. And I think that's just in a household that has kids anyway. They automatically go to the mother. And so that's why a lot of times, unless the mother is not there for whatever reason, like if she's the one who left, or if something tragic happened or whatever, then they have no other choice but to go to the father or whatever. But we know that a lot of times everything is dumped onto the mother because the father can up and just do what they want to do. They can literally be in the house and just be chilling, and the mother
But
is
that's not how it always pans out.
that's not what
I mean,
but it does.
but here's the thing, and this is what we need to know about um, the father. You
Mhm.
know, they just want to be heard. They want to be sometimes checked up on. You said checking in is a good thing, but
Okay.
how was your day? Can I rub your back? Can I,
Okay.
just see how you're doing mentally?
Okay.
If I'm struggling mentally, then the other person's struggling mentally
Okay.
in some ways.
Mhm.
So we have to look at it and put ourselves in that person's shoes, even though you're already in those shoes. But sometimes it's just about me
Okay.
instead of about that other person.
Okay.
Being married is about serving the other person.
Okay.
And how we can be, serve each other better.
Mhm.
How I already know what you're going through. How can I answer that, and how can I, um, be the answer to that particular question, or what it is that you're going through, the struggle that you're going through.
Okay.
So that
So, do you feel like at any point in time, for some of the things that you may be requiring of your wife, that you're like, okay, maybe this is something that I may need to get? And when I say you, I'm just saying like a man,
and
period,
okay.
may need some type of professional help to kind of work through certain areas of their life that they need. Because a lot of times, people, men and husbands, they require a lot of the wife, but there may be some deep rooted issues or things that they're requiring that a wife literally may not be able to give. But if they, seek professional help and kind of just talk about what they're requesting, they'll find out, okay, well, maybe this is something that is not really they can give me, but I need to kind of figure out what needs to be done. So, do you feel like therapy will uh, work for men in those instances?
I think that therapy works, but the simple things you don't need therapy for. Somebody rubbing your back,
No,
someone
not like that.
I'm just saying, just the simple things, simple wifely things. Just the PDA, and just letting you know that I know that this is going on, and so on and so forth. I'm tired, but I'm still here for you. I
Mhm.
mean, I'm about to go to sleep, but can I just see how your day was for at least 5 minutes, and so on and so forth. Or I'm a planning some time that I could spend with you directly.
Mhm.
We'll do something when the kids are asleep. We'll actually go down and watch a movie or so on and so forth.
But we've been doing that.
I mean, I'm just talking about just out here,
But I feel like you
in
kind of
general.
talking to me too, and I'm okay.
I
Look,
mean,
again, transparency. That's
if the preacher is talking,
anyways. That's something I do have to work on. Like PDA, I'm not big on it. But I do try to consciously make sure sometimes that I do rub his shoulder or his head or whatever, or give him a little. I try. I don't. It don't just run through me.
but here's the thing. See, my wife doesn't realize a lot of the times that I'm able to, give her a massage or to, rub her head and do the
Yes,
things that
Grace likes to make her appearances. You know that. You will see that. Her
wave.
hair
You gonna
is
wave?
done.
You gonna wave?
So I ain't mad at him, at her. So yes, if y'all been watching us, Grace will.
Pop in every now and again. Don't do that on camera.
And she will do her thing.
Anyways,
Go ahead.
yeah, I mean, a lot of times my wife doesn't realize that I do some of those things because I know that that's something that she needs. That she needs to be relaxed, and she needs a head rub, and for me to try to do some things for her, because this life is rough, and I'm
Yes.
supposed to do it anyway. If I care about her, why wouldn't I want to hold her in my arms? If I love her, why would I not try to kiss her and show her my affection? You know. So that's just where I'm at with it. I want her to be good. I don't want her to be around here feeling like she's unwanted, or feeling like she's just here by herself.
Mhm.
So that's why I do what I do.
Well, I appreciate it, and I will make a little bit more of a conscious effort. So that means I got to squeeze a little bit more from somewhere. So Lord, you gonna have to give me a little something from somewhere. Put it in my tank because I gotta give him a little bit extra. And I never said it was gonna happen right then, but the Lord will give me the grace somewhere.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, but I don't want to get off topic because I
Because
feel
it's not just about me and you. It's about those people that are out there that are struggling with some of the same things. So
Yeah.
I'm not just saying, well, my wife's not doing this or she's not doing that. I'm not saying anything like that, because
Yeah.
you do a lot of stuff. I'm just saying that
oh
this is
you
how
heard it first.
this is how
I do a
I
lot of
could
stuff.
get that extra. But what I'm saying is this. Um a lot of people are feeling like they're being neglected. Like, and that actually pushes people away. People are pushed away because they feel like, what's my purpose here? I mean, we have the kids. I'm trying to help, and I'm helping here, but where's my life?
Mhm.
Where's what I can get out of it? I want to make sure my kids are good. There's some things I want to see and have foresight. Want to make sure that my kids become independent. Want to make sure that my marriage is good. But a lot of times the marriage is neglected because of all the obstacles that you have to tackle. You have to learn this and have to teach your children this and spend all this time doing this and going to meetings and going to all these different
Appointments.
therapies and appointments and so on and so forth. So
Yeah.
it squeezes the life out of you. And it's
Absolutely.
kind of like, man, I used to be in music real hard, and I don't even do music anymore. And it's like I used to do this, or I used to do that, but I don't have time to do that. So it's kind of like you get lost in everything.
Mhm.
And that can typically squeeze out your happiness and squeeze out your joy. So, I mean, for us, thank God we have a relationship with Him, that He gives us peace that surpasses all understanding.
Right.
Even through all that, it's still a struggle.
Absolutely.
So,
Again, just telling the girl today, this is a great task, but I will say having a partner. And let me just say, shout out to all the women that is doing this by
by
themselves.
themselves on their own.
And because I not if I needed, if I had to, anybody that has to do something, they do it. You know what I mean? And if you love your children, you're gonna make sure they're good. Even when you're not. coming from a mother or a father.
Hmm.
But to the parents that are single parents, because let's start saying shout out to the parents that are single parents
Yeah.
instead of just shout out to the mothers, because it's not just the mothers. The stigma is that it's just moms, because a lot of times it is the moms,
But sometimes it's the
but
father.
sometimes it is
Sometimes
the
the mom
father.
leaves, you know,
Correct. So
or the grandparent, you
right.
know.
So just to the person that is doing this on their own, we understand you and we see you. We empathize with you, because with one person, with two people, excuse me, the journey is great. So we can only imagine what it would be like with just one person. And so our prayers go to you, because when these children hit all of these different levels in life and different seasons in their lives, they a lot of times, so our 10-year-old, she's not currently speaking. She can't tell us if she's sick, if her stomach hurts, if her head is hurting. What are you doing?
Down, Grace, down.
She wants this. That's her little box.
But a lot of people don't see the behind the scenes. There are some mothers that have to deal with children that are so frustrated that they do self harm and they harm others. You know, there's people that have to deal with that by themselves. There's people that don't really have a personal life because their child is going through all this difficulty and they're trying to do everything that they can do to make sure that their child is good. So, you know, that's why this community is here. Why we're trying to create a community or join into, you know, different communities with autism, in order to help other people, to reach out and to say to that mother or to that father, we understand.
Absolutely.
And how can we be of assistance? Or, you know, there's this event that we can all go to, or,
Right.
you know, we can all come together and go camping, or so on and so forth, to get your mind off of the struggles of life and to help you to be stronger and to be able to go back, to handle the things that you're dealing with. See,
Yeah.
we went on vacation. We didn't have to worry about the kids. They were with their grandparents.
Mhm.
But as soon as we got back, our problems were there
They
waiting
were
on us.
at the gate.
Go ahead and pack your bags right over there, or
Yep.
unpack your bags and come back to these problems. So yeah, so that's what we're here doing, and we believe that this is what God has called us to do, um, to be a beacon of light, and at the same time to minister to the other people that are around us, and also to get feedback and to get knowledge from those that are around us.
Exactly. I just want to say this real quick. And as a spouse or whatever, you always want to make sure, and that's something that I probably need to do myself, always allot the grace that somebody, your spouse, is feeling what similar feelings that you're feeling, right? So if I'm feeling a certain type of way about the kids or having these thoughts and feelings, it's only natural that my spouse, my husband, is feeling these feelings. And so it's important that you take the time to, once they go to bed, because we try to put them in, as a matter of fact, that's coming up bedtime for them very soon, to talk about how you're feeling, about what we're dealing with. It's okay to talk about the run of the day, because we do that.
Mhm.
But how are you feeling about what about the journey that we're going through right now?
Mhm.
Because I need to know how you feel about it. Not that it's gonna change the situation, because if we could change anything about the situation, what she's doing is not gonna help and hurt anything, is it?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
This camera right here.
Okay. Then
But we
it
need
is
that
what it
camera
is.
too, though. So
Yeah, but we're not using it. She doesn't touch something. It done went black.
okay.
But it's important that we do this. And if you don't have that person that you can go to, find you somebody that you can go to, somebody that you can trust. Get you a therapist. Ain't nothing wrong with therapy. Excuse me. There is nothing wrong with getting your mental health into check.
Great stop.
Gracie, play with your stuff. There's nothing wrong with it, because if you're not taking care of your mental state, how you gonna take care of the children? Grace,
And that's very important.
you can't take care of nobody if you all jacked up.
Parents of children that are diagnosed with autism spectrum, autism spectrum disorder often report. I mean, there's a report that says that they have higher levels of depression,
Mm-hmm.
anxiety, and
Mhm.
mental health related issues.
Mm-hmm.
And the combination of the stressors and the family adjustment difficulties can cause distress, which may develop into a crisis.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of stuff that comes with this territory,
Mhm.
and we're in the same boat. I think it's wise to make sure that everyone on the boat is safe instead of
Mhm.
just kicking someone off of the boat and you're there by yourself.
Mhm.
You know, you could be married and have another person with you and be alone.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's good to get together and to work these issues out together, and you'll be stronger another day. So it looks like we're up to an hour. Is there anything else you would like to say?
No. First of all, I want to thank you for tuning in. If you tuned in to Living with the Spectrum tonight, we have decided to move, excuse me, the pollen outside is dreadful.
Yes, it is.
We have decided to move Living with the Spectrum to
Monday nights.
Monday nights at 7
7.
instead of Sunday nights at 7 because we've learned that Sunday nights can get
Really busy because
really busy because we have church. Go ahead, babe, talk.
we have church, we have and we just want to spend a little time just
Family time.
family time.
We used to do family time before we did started Living with the Spectrum.
And the
And-
weekend is so it goes by so quickly that
And
you
y'all
don't have
know
the
before you
opportunity
know it,
to.
you blank it be
It's
8 o'clock
gone.
at night on Sunday night, and it's like, oh, I got to go to work tomorrow, or I got to wake up early in the morning, get the kids ready for school or whatever.
And you ain't did nothing with the
Ain't
kids.
did a thing. You understand me? So we have decided to move Living with the Spectrum on Monday nights
Monday
at 7
nights.
because it would allow us a lot more time after school. I get off work, and then we can. Tim will probably have dinner for them ready and us.
Yes.
And then we can just kind of go on into it, and we're not pressed with back-to-back things that we have to do. If we want to do something on Sunday, we can do family day on Sunday.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. Please, and I keep forgetting to say this
Mhm.
in the beginning, like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
And tell somebody else about
Tell
it.
somebody else. What are you doing?
I was looking up certain things to talk about the other outlets.
Oh,
Just keep looking in the camera. That's fine.
I just saw something else. Sorry, y'all. He be always throwing me off. So like our Facebook page, share our posts, join our Facebook page. Please, even if you don't know anybody, just share it on your page because they may come on your page and like, oh shoot, I was looking for something like this, and you may not even know it.
Yeah.
Let people know about Living with the Spectrum.
Please.
We have we also have a Facebook page, Living with the Spectrum. We're working on our YouTube page. And so that's what it is. You know what I mean? Let the people know we out here. We trying to help and we trying to get help. You feel me?
Yeah, because we don't know it all.
We don't.
And what we're trying to do is get more people involved
Mm-hmm.
so that we can, there's a saying out there that says it takes a village
Mm-hmm.
to raise, children. And I believe that saying,
Absolutely.
it's not that we all know everything, but there's something that you may know that I need to know,
Right.
So I just wanted to let you know that also this month we're going to try to get in the conference that we have every month. We have a support group every month.
Mm-hmm.
We just didn't do it last week, but we're trying to get everything together, and we'll keep you updated with that.
Correct.
And just let you know what type of if we have any special guests or anything of that nature that are going to join us and talk about certain things. And I also want to let you know that we're on a multitude of different platforms and different podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
So you can check us
say
out
it.
on Apple,
Deezer.
You can check us out on Spotify. That's a pretty big one. Just wherever they're having podcasts, you can basically catch us there.
Catch us. And that's pretty much it. You know what I mean? Like, we're gonna do the Monday nights 7. And just let check us out.
Yeah,
That's all I gotta
let the
say.
chips fall where they may.
My gas is running low. It's 8 o'clock. It's
Yeah.
time to get it getting.
Okay, so we do appreciate your time, and we'll see you next Monday at 7 p.m. If anyone's looking for a church or so on and so forth, we have services at our house, but we stream them every Sunday and every Wednesday night. And sometimes it's hard for us.
Sunday at 11, Wednesday night at 7.
Yeah. And sometimes it's hard for us that have special needs children to actually get into the house of worship and really be accepted. So, what we do is we stream those services, and, we talk about, just whatever the Lord may have on our heart, and we keep it moving. So,
right.
yeah, so we'll see you next Monday at 7 p.m.
And if you have any topics you want us to talk about, send us a message.
Yes. You
We'll
can
be
also,
happy to do that.
you can also, after this is shown, if you didn't put anything in the chats, you can go back and put something in the chat
Chat
that
it
you would
up.
love for us to talk about, or you can send us or shoot us an email at timothy@destinedcoach.com. I'll read through that, and we'll talk about what needs to be talked about.
Mm-hmm.
All right, love you.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
good. Babe. Babe. See, this is what I be talking about.
All right, y'all. Love y'all.
Bye, guys. Thank
Peace.
you.